When your partner constantly plays the victim, acts deeply misunderstood, and makes you feel like you're the one who always gets it wrong, do you actually know what they're trying to say? On the surface, it seems like they're just sensitive, maybe even more in touch with their emotions than most people. But most people in relationships completely miss that this is one of the most emotionally loaded things a partner can do. And if you misread it, you could spend years comforting someone who is quietly controlling every part of your emotional world. Let's start with what this behavior really means. So why does your partner always seem to be the one who's hurting? Most people assume it's simple. They had a rough childhood. They're just an introvert. They feel things more deeply than others. End of story. But here's the thing. If it were just sensitivity, they wouldn't also have this strange ability to make you feel guilty for having your own needs. They wouldn't shut down the moment you bring up something that bothers you, and they wouldn't somehow always turn your pain into their pain until you're the one apologizing for being upset in the first place. So why does this keep happening specifically with you? Because what looks like vulnerability on the outside is actually a deeply rooted pattern of covert control. Clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani describes covert narcissism as one of the hardest forms to spot because it hides behind softness, behind wounds, behind a person who seems like they would never hurt anyone. But the effect on you is the same. You slowly lose your voice, you start shrinking, and you don't even realize it's happening because they never raised theirs. And by the way, if your partner used to be emotionally open with you and suddenly became closed off or distant, don't brush that off. We'll get into what that reversal really means at the end, and it's something most people wish they'd understood before it was too late. Have you ever noticed a subtle shift in your partner's face, a quiet sigh, or a long pause right before they pull away from a conversation? That's not random, it's protective. What you're seeing is a form of emotional deactivation. Here's what most people in relationships don't realize. When your partner does this, they're not just being quiet. They're managing a deeply buried fear of being exposed. Covert narcissism is rooted in shame, not the kind of shame you or I might feel after making a mistake. It's a constant low-level hum of "I am not enough" that has been running since childhood. And instead of facing that feeling, they learn to build an identity around being the sensitive one, the misunderstood one, the one who always gets hurt. That identity becomes their armor. So when you challenge them, even gently, it doesn't feel like a conversation to them. It feels like an attack on the only version of themselves they know how to be. In attachment theory, this is a kind of protest behavior, turned inward. They're not reaching for connection the way an anxious partner might. They're pulling away to protect a self-image that feels too fragile to survive honest feedback. And this is why you've probably felt it before. That strange moment where you brought up something completely reasonable and somehow ended the conversation feeling like you were the problem. Ever wonder why this pattern shows up in some relationships and not others? Maybe it's the couple who never fights but also never really talks. Maybe it's the relationship that looks caring and gentle on the outside but feels suffocating on the inside. Maybe it's the partner who gives and gives but somehow makes you feel like you can never give enough back. That pattern isn't random. It's deeply rooted in how we learn to love. Gottman's research found that one of the strongest predictors of relationship breakdown is stonewalling, which is when one partner emotionally withdraws during conflict. But with a covert narcissist, the stonewalling doesn't look like silence. It looks like sadness. It looks like them saying, "I just can't do anything right," which immediately makes you stop advocating for yourself and start comforting them instead. Watch how this plays out. If they respond to your concerns with tears and self-blame, they're redirecting the conversation away from accountability. If they go quiet and give you the cold shoulder for days, they're punishing you for challenging them. If they say, "I'm sorry you feel that way," with a calm, measured tone, they're acknowledging your emotions without ever actually taking responsibility. And hey, if this is making you see your relationship differently right now, hit that like button and subscribe. It's the best way to help us reach more people who actually care about understanding what's really happening in their relationships. Now let's break this down further. Because covert narcissism doesn't look the same in every relationship. There are distinct versions of this behavior, and each one tells you something completely different. The first sign is constant victimhood. This is the most common form. Your partner always has a story about how someone wronged them, their boss, their family, their ex, and now, sometimes, you. At first, it made you want to protect them. But over time, you started to notice that they're never the one at fault in any story they tell. They live in a world where things always happen to them, and that framing keeps them permanently innocent. The second sign is passive aggression disguised as kindness. They'll say, "No, it's fine, I'll just do it myself," with a tone that makes it clear it is absolutely not fine. Or they'll do something thoughtful for you, then hold it over your head later when they need leverage. The giving isn't generous. It's strategic, and it leaves you feeling like you owe them something you never agreed to. The third sign is empathy that disappears when you need it most. They can cry during a movie. They can comfort a stranger. But the moment you're the one in pain, especially if that pain involves something they did, their empathy vanishes. They become cold, dismissive, or they flip it and make you hurt about them. This selective empathy is one of the clearest signs that what you're dealing with isn't just someone who's emotionally tired. It's someone whose empathy only works when it serves their image. The fourth sign is quiet competition. They don't celebrate your wins. Or they do, but it feels hollow. When something good happens to you, they find a way to bring the conversation back to themselves, to their struggles, their unmet needs. It's subtle. But over time, you start to notice that you've been dimming your own light just to keep the peace. The fifth sign is information control. They share just enough vulnerability to make you feel close to them, but they never let you fully in. And when you share something vulnerable, they store it, not to understand you, but to use it later when they need to regain control of a conversation. The sixth sign is moral superiority. They position themselves as the more ethical, more feeling, more evolved person in the relationship. Not with words necessarily, but with sighs, with disappointed looks, with a general energy that says, "I would never do what you just did." And that quiet judgment keeps you walking on a tightrope. And then there's the seventh sign, and this is the one most people never see coming. Extreme generosity that feels like a weight. They do everything for you. They anticipate your needs before you speak them. It sounds like a dream, but underneath, it's a transaction. Because the moment you fail to match their level of giving, or the moment you don't express enough gratitude, you'll feel the shift. The warmth disappears, and you realize their kindness was never free. It came with invisible terms and conditions you never signed up for. Have you ever noticed that you start walking on eggshells around your partner? That you over-explain yourself, rehearse conversations before you have them, or swallow your feelings just to avoid their reaction? You're more cautious, more careful. You edit yourself before you even speak. That's not a coincidence. It's a form of hypervigilance. Researchers studying codependent dynamics in couples found that partners of covert narcissists often develop a heightened emotional radar, constantly scanning for shifts in mood or tone to protect themselves from the next withdrawal or guilt trip. Think about that for a second. Your entire way of showing up in this relationship, the way you speak, the things you say and don't say, how much of yourself you reveal, has been quietly reshaped by a pattern you didn't even know was running. Ever had a week where something was weighing on you, maybe stress from work, maybe a small doubt about the relationship, and your partner's behavior shifted before you even said a word? That's not a coincidence. They felt it before you spoke. Partners in close relationships develop an emotional radar for each other over time. They pick up on changes in your texting speed, your tone of voice, even the way you sit next to them on the couch. And here's where it gets even deeper. A covert narcissist doesn't just read those signals. They react to the version of you that you don't even know you're showing. If you pulled back even slightly, even unconsciously, they felt the threat. And their response, whether it was guilt, withdrawal, or a sudden burst of affection was designed to pull you back into the dynamic. They're not just reacting to you. They're reacting to the version of you that you don't even know you're projecting. Now let's talk about what it means when a partner who has been doing all of this suddenly stops. This is what I mentioned earlier, and it's something everyone in a relationship needs to understand. If your partner has been playing the victim, controlling, through softness and quietly reshaping your behavior for weeks or months, and then they suddenly become warm, open, and emotionally available, don't just feel relieved. Pay attention. People in relationships are creatures of pattern. When they break one this significant, something real has shifted. Sometimes the reason is growth. They've done some internal work, maybe through therapy, maybe through self-reflection, and they're genuinely ready to show up differently. That does happen. And when it does, it's something worth honoring. Other times, it's need-based. They want something from you. Forgiveness, reassurance, a fresh start after they've sensed you pulling away. The warmth isn't coming from healing. It's coming from fear of losing their source of validation. And sometimes it's cyclical, a pattern of withdrawal and return that keeps both partners off balance. Esther Perel describes this as the push-pull of intimacy, where closeness triggers fear and distance triggers longing, and the couple gets stuck in a loop that neither of them fully understands. The cycle isn't random. It's the relationship trying to stabilize itself inside a dynamic that was never built on equal ground. Here's what matters most. Understanding this doesn't mean you have to leave. It doesn't mean your partner is a monster. It means you now see something that was invisible before, and seeing it is what changes everything. Because that behavior, the victimhood, the guilt, the quiet control, the selective empathy, it was never just a habit. It was a conversation your partner was having with you in the only language they knew how to use. And now you understand what they were saying?